Hey everybody, Ralph Havens here, and the sun is just about to come up, and I hear Jen just starting to move around up there. So I'm still down here downstairs because we're fixing to get our hardwire connection up to my office, so I don't have to turn on the Wi-Fi and zap the kids and everybody. So this video today is about true healing, and what happens when that is activated, and so an idea about healing, because I'm not for everybody. I'm just not for everybody. You know, there's different ways, right, to look at healing. There's, of course, the medical route, and that includes the pharmaceutical drugs and the vaccines and that sort of thing. And then there's the alternative way, like holistic supplements and nutrition and that sort of thing. And then there's even stuff beyond that, like and that's what I want to talk about today, because when I see people with conditions and you think, why would somebody's body be having so much trouble? Why all these problems, especially children, with infections and earaches and, all sorts of sore throats and why some kids have so much trouble, the allergies and that sort of thing. And so how would you go about, what are ways to go about true healing? So, of course, one way is to see something like an infection or some sort of sore throat or some sort of ear ache or problem, and to find a drug that stops that symptom, stops the earache, kills the bacteria or whatever is causing the infection symptoms. That's one way. And then there's people who try to use nutrition and diet and shift it and help the kid's body get healthier first, and then they can fight off the stuff. And so there's different ways to think of healing, right? And what I want to talk about today is the number one way your body knows that it's safe to heal. Wouldn't that be cool if your body knew it was safe to heal? And what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean safe to heal? I tell the story of myself when I couldn't run for 8 months, and I tried so many things. I was already an advanced physical therapist, and had my therapist work on me and other people work on me, and nobody could fix it. And then one therapist put her hand on my foot and said that I had a problem with my arteries. Can you imagine that? Put her hand on my foot and said I had a problem with my arteries. And she proceeded to work on me with very light touch, energetic techniques that I was about to start learning. I was about just at the beginning of a 10-year process of taking 110 classes over 10 years and spending a lot of money. Every month I spent about $3,000 to $5,000 on my continuing education to travel around the world in Canada to learn this, because after she did that and touched my foot, she worked on me for 2 hours, and then I could run. And she worked on my heart and my arteries. So my body was telling me that it was not safe to heal. I couldn't clear up this muscle spasm in my leg. At least it didn't want me to, because my heart and arteries were having problems. And that's a pretty smart body, right? It's not going to let me run and hurt myself in a maybe fatal way. So it's going to spasm some muscles. And once that was cleared, she worked on my heart and arteries with the energetic means integrative manual therapy, very advanced form of medical intuitive work. My body didn't have to protect it anymore. Okay, so I'm back, I think. So hopefully this is still working. So I got my running back after my body knew it was safe to heal. And so true healing, let me just get this stat, because I looked it up just now and it's kind of crazy. I've been running into this even though I thought it was done. I didn't think people still had tonsillectomies. But here, let me just read this. More than 500,000 tonsillectomies are performed each year on children in the United States. It is the second most common pediatric surgery. That's January 2014 from CNN. And here's another one in the United Kingdom. a total of 18,281 tonsillectomies were performed in 2018, it looks like. That's 2.5 tonsillectomies per 1,000 children in the United Kingdom. And here's for the National Health Institute. Let's see what this is. NHS. I'm not sure what that is. Let me just look and see what NHS is. Oh, there's the link to the science. So it talks about how a lot of these are unnecessary. Children's tonsils are being removed unnecessarily. So thank God. Oh, that's the BBC. British BBC from the UK is reporting that. And but yet it's the second most common pediatric surgery. And so you can kind of think of that approach to healing like this. Like if you have a big fire at your house or in somebody's house on the street that you live on, and you pull up to the street and there's all these cops and there's all these fire trucks and there's all this commotion and they're pouring water all over the houses and causing lots of water damage, and they're using axes to break into the houses that still have people in there and make sure they can get the people out. And somebody pulls up and says, you know, this is really uncomfortable. I do not like all these cops and firemen hanging around this neighborhood. I can't go into my house. I can't go do what I want to do. This is just like really, really frustrating to me. I want to get all the cops, all the firemen, just go home right now. Or better yet, let's go lock you up somewhere else where you can't ever come back. And that's kind of like using a drug just to say you don't like a symptom. The symptom is all these cops and firemen and causing all this damage, the water damage, the axes, tearing down parts of houses to save people. It's causing lots of damage, but it's the protection. And when you do something like a tonsillectomy, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it just kind of breaks down in my logic. You tell me what you think. If you've got a raging infection in your body and the tonsils are a big filter to try to stop it, wouldn't it be better to try to figure out why this infection is attacking somebody and clear that problem up so that they don't have to have all the tonsils and all the antibodies fighting this infection? But to just take the tonsils out, now you've taken out the body's ability to try to fight it. And so you didn't get rid of the infection, you just let the infection go everywhere it wants to go. Kind of like letting the fire go everywhere it wants to go. So there's different ways to think of healing, and everybody has their choices. Of course, hopefully we keep our informed medical consent and we can have our own choices for how we want to think about our own bodies and how to heal. But and I'm not for everybody, but my idea, and it's not just mine, it's like this whole integrative manual therapy, matrix energetics, medical intuitive model, is that there's a reason we see something happening when we see a problem, a chronic condition, and your body is possibly telling us that it's not safe to heal this thing up, that there's a fight going on. And if we can figure out why that's happening, we can shift it. And then kind of like me, I got my running back after we shifted the stuff around my heart and arteries. So I did a big masterclass. It's over an hour long, and it's big. It's how to get over these kind of chronic conditions, the autoimmune conditions, and even anxiety and other conditions, stuff that's going on that's just chronic. If you have a trauma, you get a car wreck, yeah, let's go to the doctor and make sure, trauma ER, that's very, very, very important. There's a real place for doctors. Of course, I totally think that. I know some doctors that are doing amazing work. And yet, if you're dealing with a chronic thing, maybe just stopping a symptom is not going to serve you. So for those people, I want to open you up to a new way of thinking on a deeper level than maybe you've even thought before. Because what happens when people go to this, what I would call true healing way, figure out why the fire is there and stop that. Maybe there's a big propane leak in the neighborhood, stop that and then clean it up. When people start to shift that, something starts to happen. And there's a lot of physical, but also mental, emotional, spiritual stuff that can get in the way of somebody's healing. And when somebody learns to start to find that, when that starts to be found and cleared, not only is true healing going on, but it's what I call self-mastery. You start to get a command, not control, but a command of your own body and your own destiny and your own healing. And that's the thing that's interesting to me. Because when I see people join me for sessions to clear up physical conditions, it's not a one-way thing. I'm not just doing things to somebody and they heal. They're going through a process and they're becoming masters of themselves. And that's what I have for you. And so that's not for everybody. But if this speaks to you, then you can go to ralphhavens.com/masterclass. Now, I've been doing this type of thing with clients for many years. And over the last year or two, especially the last year, I'm starting to see that, oh, there's a self-mastery component to this. It's like a student and an apprentice. And you get to learn how to be the master of your own health and healing and happiness and destiny. So if that's interesting to you, I've got an hour-long masterclass at ralphhavens.com/masterclass. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're one of our Thrive Tribe people, one of us. If you're not, no big deal. I would love to hear whatever you think, either way. And I will see you all tomorrow.